Hey everyone, welcome back or welcome to Heal the Girl Network if you're watching here on YouTube, and welcome to Heal the Girl Podcast if you're tuned in on Apple or Spotify podcasts. I'm Kiana, and this is a safe space to share our stories and learn from each other. We take a walk in your shoes. We get a glimpse of your life journey. We take the band-aids off of our shame. At Heal the Girl, we believe sharing heals. There's power in sharing our stories. And today, sharing her story is Destinee Dennis.
That is groom Desmond Dennis and his groomsmen who put on an incredible performance during his wedding to new bride-to-be Destinee.
That's right. Destinee Dennis is the proud wife of YouTube sensation Desmond Dennis. You might know Desmond from his viral content that's been flooding our feeds, from his wedding performance to the famous Baby Shark R&B remix. His creative content never fails to bring us joy. But today, we get to take a walk in his wife's shoes. Destinee has faced significant health battles that have made life in the limelight challenging. Her journey is a powerful reminder that the success we see online is only a glimpse, and real life continues beyond the screen. But even when life gets tricky, don't shy away, show up. It can help someone. She's learning to find the beauty through life's imperfections. Let's talk to Destinee Dennis. Destinee, welcome to Heal the Girl. I'm so happy to see you.
Thank you for having me. I know it's been so long. Hopefully not too much longer. We'll be back in the summer.
Yes, we have to meet the baby,
Yes.
How many months old is she?
She's 4 months old now.
She's 4 months old. And then as we were talking before, a big gap between the first child and your second, and
9 years. Yeah.
and a lot of stuff in between there. So we have some catching up to do, but before we do that, we're going to get to know you better by playing a little game. We're going to take a walk in Destinee's shoes. This is your opportunity to show us a pair of shoes. Doesn't matter if it's a sneaker, it's a heel, it's a slipper. The shoes connect to a pivotal moment in your life, an unforgettable time, or if you just love that pair of shoes. So Destinee, show us your shoes, girl.
So these are my Renee Calvillas. They are my absolute favorite. I love like the glitter at the bottom.
Those are so cute.
Thank you. I call them like my monumental shoe right now. The reason why is being a mom and having a new baby, you tend to get a little lost in just parenthood. Yeah. And we were invited to like a business trip into ATL, and I just was like, I just don't feel my best. Like right now, I just don't. And my husband was, nice enough to be like, let's go get you a new outfit, whatever. And I came across these shoes, and when I put them on, I just felt confident. I just felt like, number one, comfortable. They're very comfortable, but I just felt confident in them. I thought they looked good. I got this tan because we went on a little cruise. So these shoes were giving me that like mom boost that I needed, like that little, all right, you still got it.
Yes, and girl, you do. You still got it for sure.
Thanks.
Yeah. And I totally understand that transition, and of course, like just feeling with postpartum and being consumed by becoming a newborn's mother, and so you look great and you're doing well.
And so are you, beautiful.
Thank you, girl. I'm trying. And by the way, I love those shoes. I meant to say that. I'm so excited to talk to you that I'm jumping around. Those shoes are gorgeous. They do look comfortable, but they also look very fashionable. So.
Thank you. They are. I'm like, yeah, they're my jam.
Yeah, those are like so cute. And the glitter on the bottom is like just a little cool touch to it.
Like cute little touch. Yeah.
Yeah, super feminine. Shout out to Desmond for taking you shopping too.
Yeah, always got to say thank you to the hubby. Always.
Yeah, so you were telling me about your diagnosis after Caden. So let's talk about that, because I was under the impression that you would not necessarily be able to have children again.
Yeah. A little backstory is about 2 years after I had Caden, I understand like the first couple months, even to a year when the baby's not sleeping, just being tired. But this was 2 years in. I was barely being able to get up for work. Within an hour or two of being up, I was very, very tired and very confused and just just thought I was like the lazy mom that couldn't get it together until I went to 100% not related, but a dermatology appointment. And they gave me some topical cream that I put on, and within the day or two, I had a bald spot in the middle of my head. And I went back and said, like what you gave me a bald spot. And he goes, no, this medicine wouldn't have done that. And he took a look at it and told me I had alopecia areata, which is only brought on by autoimmune issues. And at this point, this had not been on my radar at all to have an autoimmune issue. I'm just like, no, I'm just tired. I need vitamin B. I need coffee. I don't know. Um, but that's led me to go to the doctor and get some tests done. I do have some health issues in my family, but they're not really like talked about. So I wasn't really aware to even have this looked at. But when the test came back, I found out I had lupus SLE, which is systemic lymphatic. Or it's basically there's two versions of lupus. One is medicated induced or medically induced, like by taking medications, and the other one is just genetic and or your body. And that's the one that I have. And that actually put me in a place where the first appointment, without even looking at my chart, the PA comes in and she tells me you have SLE and you also have a connective tissue disorder, and you will never be able to have kids more than likely. And it kind of upset me a little bit because I'm like, first off, what you don't know is I already have a 2-year-old. So, but also you're not God and you don't have the last say so.
Amen.
So anything is possible through him. We both know that. And for a while, I think I played it safe where it was, no, 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 we're good with just Caden. And don't be wrong, we were only 20 and we were good with just Caden at the time. But there was this big thought in my head for a while of like, oh, maybe I won't be able to have kids. I mean, it's 9 years later, nothing. And when we finally had the conversation of like, maybe we do want to have another kid, and we started trying, it took almost like 9 months. And I was like, oh my gosh, was she right? What happened in these last 9 years? Did my sickness end up doing something where, yeah, I can't have another baby? And Desmond and I had to talk about that a lot. And we always just kept saying, like, God has the last say so. He's made bigger miracles happen. And we just always kept him first. I would pray all the time and just talk to him and just be like, God, if this is in your will, let it be done. And if not, just be with me for me to understand,
Yeah.
And it's actually crazy how when we found out, right, I would say a week or two before, at that point, I just was getting very discouraged because month after month, looking at a test and just seeing negative and negative, when you get your hopes up and you swear you're having symptoms, it's rough. And it takes a toll on you. And I was like, you know what? I think like we're done. We're blessed with Caden. Like, let's stop trying. Let's just put the pressure off. I'm good with our lives. And then the week later, I found out I was pregnant, and it was like God being like, yeah, you thought. And yeah, and then here she is, almost a year and some change later now. But it was such a blessing, and like I almost didn't believe it when I first saw it. I was like, no way, no way.
Oh my goodness. It's just amazing how God works, because when you said that you had a dermatologist appointment completely unrelated to the autoimmune and all, like it all just connected. So like going
All
there,
the answers.
yeah, you have lupus.
Yes. And how that presented for me was just I had like really red cheeks all the time. I was super tired. And there was a period of time where Desmond would have to, we lived separately at the time, but he would have to come over and take me out of bed and like get me into the bathroom because I couldn't even stand up on my own. And he would have to come over and like take care of Caden because I just couldn't. And I was like, what is wrong with me? And we tried a lot of medications. And that is something that I do want to put out there is I'm not telling anybody don't take medication. If your doctor prescribes it, like I took it. I took something called Plaquenil that honestly it's like for malaria, but it helps with autoimmune issues, but it caused a lot of bruising, and it actually caused my vision to be blurred. There was like crystals forming in the back of my eyes. And I was like, this is just not it for me. Like it's not helping. And you would see, I was like covered. Just if anybody did this to me, it would just leave bruises. It was very strange. So I was like, I'm going to get off of all of this. And the doctors were telling me like, you can't. And I'm like, listen, I got to figure something else out. So I just went back to like ground zero and changed my diet. And also Desmond was seeing how sick I was getting, and he took me out of work.
Mhm.
And he said, you know, he had at that point in time, like YouTube started taking off for him, and he was like, I need to be able to work as much as I can, but I can't do that knowing that you're in pain. Like I'm not that type of person to be like, well, I got stuff to do, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
And so he was like, I'd rather you leave work, I will take care of it, and you just focus on Caden when he's home. Because at that point in time, we started putting him in daycare, and during the day, I would be able to rest.
Mhm.
And that really helped a lot. So being able to rest, changing my diet, and just watching out for like things that gave me inflammation. But I really think that is what led me to be able to not be on any medications even today.
You're not on any medication.
No, they call me like the quiet patient because over time, like I went through like a good year and a half to 2 years of just like excruciating pain. And then after me being like, enough is enough and just changing these things around, I'm pretty much good. Now there were times, like there would be months where I would sleep a lot still,
Mhm.
but it didn't affect us at the time because Caden was in school. So I would only sleep when he was at school to get myself ready for, okay, I know he's coming home soon, or I have to get up and, you know, do laundry, whatever the case may be. But at least I got a couple more hours in, and that really helped.
So, what did you do when you say you changed your diet? Are you on a specific diet, or are you just kind of tweaking things here and there?
I tweaked a lot. So first off, I do notice that any like acidic foods really bother me. They cause inflammation in the body. Anything that causes inflammation, you like want to stay away from as much as you can. And I'll notice if I eat tomatoes, if I eat like egg or nightshades too, like eggplants, I will feel weird or like just feel like yucky in the morning.
Mhm.
And not only that, I was eating a lot of very like lean meat, a lot of ground turkey, a lot of chicken, and that's great. But adding back in some red meat, and I think that might be because of the iron, really helped. I just noticed that if I ate more good whole foods
Mhm.
and less acidic foods, I was doing well. So a lot of just like chicken, rice, and veggies, or steak, rice, and veggies, or whatever the case may be. And then for after a while, I took out all carbs, which really changed the game.
Okay.
Yes, I did a very, very intense form of keto where like I fasted for 2 days and
Mhm.
then letting my like blood cells regenerate and kind of like kick out the bad ones, and not eating carbs made my body kind of have to function off of like fat, which
Mhm.
helped with like losing weight, which made me healthier, but I feel better. I'm not as tired. I don't need to take naps as much during the day. I do now because of the baby, but not
Yeah.
because of like me. Yeah.
Right.
And it's been a game changer. It's been little things. Like I have friends who they have autoimmune issues and they have to be on medication. They've done these same things and it doesn't work for them. So I understand that everybody has to like do their own research, but I never just take what someone says or like a healthcare professional, and
Mhm.
that's just the end all be all because like I said, number one, God has the final say so. And two, they're not educated to give us nutritional advice. They're educated to like give us a medication or something like that. So I'm like, it's not that I don't think you want me to be on these meds. I just don't think you guys have the education to tell me what I need to do.
Right. They may not know like the other sides and things outside of the medication. There's other things and resources out there that can help you as well. Um,
Absolutely.
you know what? This is the first time I'm talking about this on here, and this is very new. But we're talking about autoimmune diseases. They are suspecting that I have an autoimmune disease now. And listen,
Really?
yes. And listening to you, I'm like, I'm taking notes because I don't know what's going on right now.
Oh
But
my God.
I mean, the fact that you're not on any medications and all of that, and you just made the changes you needed to make is amazing. And it lets me know that there's hope.
Okay, well, first off, I'm so sorry to hear that because I don't wish it on anybody, of course. But
Yeah.
I'm happy that they're doing everything and you're doing everything you can to like figure out what it is this way you can like get a game plan. But yeah, I'm telling you, whatever they recommend, I would always do at first. But if it's just not working or you're like, I think my body could function, it's worth it to try to play around with it,
Definitely.
as long as it's not affecting your health.
Right, exactly. And I mean, I thank God for both. I have a naturopathic doctor and I have a, the regular doctor.
Western medicine, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
perfect. Yeah. So you can kind of like get a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and create your own little whatever it's gonna work for you. Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So I'm so grateful that you said that because some people don't know that. They don't realize naturopathic doctors know the holistic side of medicine.
Yes. And then like I said, like anything that they say regarding like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. Like they literally said you're not gonna be able to have another baby, and I got one in the next room. Okay.
Yeah,
So
God.
you can't tell me what my God can
That's
do.
right. Oh my gosh. So let's talk about that too. You took to Instagram that you were experiencing Bell's palsy, and this was in your third trimester.
Yes, third trimester at 37 weeks pregnant.
Mm,
Okay. This is around Christmas time. I'm upstairs wrapping gifts. I
mm,
go to take a sip of my iced coffee, and all of a sudden my lips like won't go around the straw the whole way. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's the lip gloss. I had just started playing around with lip glosses. And I'm like, okay. And then my face started to feel a little itchy. I'm like, oh, I must be having like allergic reaction. That's fine. We
mm,
take our son to basketball, and by that time, my husband goes, blink for me. So I blink, and my left side, like there was no blinking. He's like, the side of your face isn't blinking. And he's like, smile, and I smile. It's like your face isn't moving. So at first, I'm thinking I am having a stroke because I've never heard of this actually being very common
mm,
in women who are pregnant.
mm,
So I immediately go to the hospital, and they take a couple looks at me. They do a couple, tests and EKG to make sure, but they said, no, it's Bell's palsy, and it's very common in women in their third trimester.
mm,
Who was going to tell me this? But it was such a quick onset.
mm,
Started in the morning, and by the nighttime, it was just fully on a full onset. And I was devastated
mm,
because you have this idea of what like giving birth and your last couple weeks of pregnancy are going to look like. And that just all changed. It just all changed.
mm,
I went from feeling like the last couple weeks I wanted to be outside doing all of these like just last minute things or spending time with the family. And then at first I felt like I don't want to go anywhere.
mm,
Like people are gonna see me and they're gonna like get scared.
mm.
Um, and then I'm like, my baby meets me, she's gonna meet me with half of my face paralyzed. Like she's gonna be afraid of me, like this baby can actually see, because babies really can't see when they're born.
Yeah, no.
Um, but like she sees a blur anyways. But you have all these expectations, and also just as a woman, right? So like when you look at yourself and you look at yourself in the mirror, you wake up and you want to see something that you like in the mirror. And I feel like I've worked really hard to love myself. And here I am being tested. Um, and it was hard at first. And I was like ashamed. I didn't want my husband to look at me. My son, who's very vocal, was just kind of like anytime he would look at me, he would just kind of like, and we had to we had to explain to him what was going on, and once he understood, after a couple days he was fine with it. But for me, at first I felt ashamed, and then my husband, such a great man, was like, you're beautiful regardless. This is not something that you did on purpose. It's not like you were doing something you shouldn't have been doing and this is what happened. You're beautiful. And so I would constantly do this, like, ha ha ha, like hide my face. And he was like, he would always tell me, move that hand. I want to see that smile, that crooked smile, girl. Like, and he just like hyped me up.
Mhm,
So regardless of where we went, he was like, don't you dare cover your face. Just embrace it. And over time, like he never made me feel like ill or gross
mhm,
about it. He just made me feel beautiful regardless. And it really helped me feel beautiful.
mhm,
And even the day that I was in labor, I'm like sitting there with like half my face, and he's like, "Oh, our baby's gonna be so happy to meet her crooked smile, mommy. You're gonna be so beautiful. Don't worry about it, right?" But at the time, yeah, when I first found out, it was quite devastating. And then I wondered if it was going to affect the baby.
mhm.
And at first, she has like a little bit of a crooked smile. So I was like, "Oh no!" But she finally learned how to use the other side, so she's fine.
Okay. She's just learning her new body.
Yeah, she is. She's like, "Oh, I can control my face. Okay, cool."
Right. Wow. Well, thank God. I mean, he's restored you, so you are free of Bell's palsy now, and
Yes.
this is more common than people know. Like what exactly triggers the Bell's palsy in pregnancy?
That's a great question. So think about the weight and the inflammation from being heavier
Mhm.
that goes on in your body. Also, you're creating this human, there's not a lot of room, your body is inflamed. And what they say is it's brought on by a sickness. So I will say the night before this all happened, I was sneezing like crazy all night long. You know, you usually don't sneeze in your sleep. I
Right.
could not stop sneezing and my eyes were watering. And they say a virus will attack your nervous system.
Mhm.
And it's like it attacks like your cranial nerves. And instead of your body like creating a paralysis for the rest of your life, your body, it's like a protectant. It's like, oh, we're just going to shut down this side so
Mhm.
you can function off of this side until this inflammation goes down.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like more of like your body trying to protect itself.
Right.
Um, so that's what happened. And then the craziest part of it is once talking to the doctor, they say like this is more common than not common in pregnancy. And then when you go on like TikTok, Instagram, you name it, and you type it in, you see a lot of women who have it, although it's not really talked about because you're not looking for it.
Hmm.
But if you go on there, you see women who, and I wouldn't say there's a lot because I do feel like a lot of women are ashamed,
Hmm.
right? So they're not going to put their face out there. And that was something that was hard for me too, is like sharing it and then seeing it back. You're like, oh, that's what I look like. But
Yeah.
um, the fact that there wasn't a lot of info, I was like, I want to share this. But I saw a few women and just reading on Google and talking to my doctor, they're like, this is, it's really common, especially as you get bigger, your body's more inflamed. Um, and some people, it takes like a year for them to recover.
Mhm.
I started recovering as I was in labor. It was so weird. Like as I was actively in labor, not pushing, just
Mhm.
waiting,
Mhm.
my eyes started being able to blink again.
Mhm.
And then we had like this teeny bit of like face movement.
Mhm.
And then that was pretty much it for like another week or two. And then on that third week, all of a sudden I could smile. And I returned to like 80% normal. And then it's been getting better and better since then.
Yeah, I mean, I
But
don't see any evidence now. I mean, yeah, you're like 100%.
which I feel so grateful for because, like I said, there's so many women who this is like a year or they don't ever return back to normal and they have to like either get like certain procedures done to kind of match the muscles because they never come back. So I feel really grateful that I had like a mild, I had a severe case during, but I call it a mild case because of how fast I recovered.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah.
This is good to know. I actually saw another girl that I know go through that as well, and I don't know,
Really?
like, yeah, I don't know the time span in which she recovered, but she did as well. Postpartum, she recovered. And it's just really interesting how the body works. Like you said, it's so smart in a way because it's trying to like help you, but you're paralyzed on a certain side. What were some of
Yes.
the things that helped you overcome, like outside of your husband, outside of like within yourself? How did you overcome that feeling of shame? And
Mm.
how did it change your perspective on your beauty?
Um, I overcame it by just constantly looking at myself in the mirror and be like, this is who you are until it gets fixed. There's no way of fixing it until it fixes itself. This is you. So are we going to just look in the mirror and be disappointed 24/7? No, but I would catch myself just wanting to put on even just a little bit of makeup to make myself feel better, or also noticing nobody cared. Nobody cares around you what you look like.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
nobody's like, ew, I did see a couple people like look because it was very drastic, but I didn't get it
Mhm.
was almost like they have sympathy for you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Or like I took Caden to a Christmas like extravaganza and he was telling the people, my mom's face doesn't work. Excuse me, my mom's face doesn't work, but don't worry about it. She's okay. Like,
Kids.
um, so it was a lot of that. And it was honestly, I actually looked in the Bible at there was a couple plans regarding like just our inner beauty and um accepting that like we are enough, like regardless of what's going on, I think it was regarding more of like things just can't be changed in
Yeah.
general.
Mhm.
Um and that really helped. But yeah, just having to just look yourself in the mirror and being like, this is who you are. So you're gonna hate yourself for another 8 months? Or are we just gonna roll with the punches?
Yeah.
and just making light of it. It was fun to like poke fun at it for a while too. Or like if I found something super funny and then like I would have a crooked smile, like the Desmond and Kaden would be like, oh, like they would do it with me. So I didn't feel alone. But yeah, it's a lot of just like mind over matter. It was a big shock. Like when you like how you look for so long and then something that is out of your control changes that,
Mhm.
um, you got to like reprogram yourself.
Mhm.
All right, this is what it is. And as much as I hope it goes away, there's a possibility it won't. So I'm gonna have to figure this out.
That's a
And
strength.
it's a hard strength, but it is one. And I feel grateful that I was able to get there because, like I said, the first week or two I cried a lot.
Mhm.
Or the first week I cried a lot because
Mhm.
I was just like, what is this? And already in a body that you feel is changing without your permission,
Mhm. Mhm.
like you're
Mhm.
getting bigger, your stomach, I could barely walk up the steps. I had a pelvic dysfunction. So pretty much like your pelvis moves like this together. Mine was doing this, so it was causing friction like on my joints, and I could barely walk up steps towards the end. And so I'm like, I already have this issue. I'm getting bigger, like there's so much I can't control. And now this.
Mhm.
And you just have to change your mindset.
Try to find a way to make the glass half full.
Exactly. Yes. I'm the oldest out of all my siblings. So, of course, like I think that we have the most responsibility. And in certain situations where like you're either disappointed or you don't get your way, you have to keep yourself from just being angry. You
Mhm.
have to just look at things like the glass is half full. And in life, no matter what I was going through, even if like when I was battling depression or whatever, I would constantly have this feeling of just like going with the flow of whatever was being thrown my way. Because if not, I'm just gonna sit there and dwell on it and be miserable. I can't.
I love that about you, resilience. Like that's what I saw. Like when you posted on Instagram, I'm like, look at my girl. Like she's out here showing people what she's going through. And a lot of people don't, some people do, but you're in a spotlight. You guys are content creators. You and your husband, you guys have millions of subscribers. People are constantly watching you.
Yeah.
So for you to put that out there was huge because this is a very personal, vulnerable time. And you really like let people in, which really was heroic, I would say, because
Yeah.
I love that. I love the transparency. That's why you're here because and there's so much more to your story. And I'm so glad that it took that to open up all these other aspects, the autoimmune disease, just all the things that you were sharing, the journey, because right now I kind of feel like that, like, oh, one thing after another. It's like, okay, I'm trying to heal this area, but then there's this going on. And it's like people on the outside have no clue what you're going through
Yeah.
until we share it. And then you realize, wow, I'm not alone. Like I thought I was, the only one struggling here, but I'm
And
not.
I think it's right, right. And I think that was why I shared it. Because I'm like, first off, you're telling me millions of people have that, like women are going through this. There's not much on it.
Mhm.
Two, I'm gonna take something that I'm the most ashamed of at this moment, and we're gonna keep turning it into positivity and information. And not only that, number one, when I posted it, I'm not gonna lie, especially because there are so many subscribers, I felt worried that like what they were gonna say at first.
Sure.
But number one, it was just all love and support.
Mhm.
Um, but even if they did say something, like I had to be okay with that because
Mhm.
it's like, all right, but that's not, this isn't for you. This content then it really wasn't for you. It's for the woman who also figures this out and needs like information and somebody who's not afraid to show it. I think that our generation was very much so only show the perfect, only show what's good.
Mhm.
And this new generation, they actually hate that. They call it like out of touch.
Mhm.
And I'm inspired by them because it's very out of touch to be perfect. There is no such thing. So let's talk about what we go through. Let's talk about postpartum. Let's talk about Bell's palsy. Let's talk about autoimmune issues because there's a billion of us who are going through it or have no education on it. And we're all over here thinking that we're terrible parents or terrible people and can't get up and we're lazy. And it's like, no, there's something underlying that you didn't even think of. But you came across someone's video and now you're getting all the help and answers you need.
That is exactly it. And I love what you said about the out of touch aspect because social media has a way of doing that. Like all our feeds are filled with aesthetics and like the perfect. And I mean, we kind of can't help it. Like, I mean, for some, it's a job, but when you break that mold for a moment and like peek through with the real and the raw, like it's commendable. And I'm so proud of you for sharing that story. And you're helping so many women. I want to add this aspect because you and I were sharing earlier. We got married like a month after each other, 2020. What we were kind of talking about earlier was how our marriages have progressed. How has your marriage progressed, like with all the health battles and all of those things? Similarly to what we were talking about with social media, marriage also has that facade of looking perfect. Nobody knows, like behind closed doors, just how deep and raw you have to get sometimes about stuff. And
Oh yeah.
like you said, your husband's helping you. You can't walk. Those are very transparent moments that you just don't really expect to happen, but they do. So how has your marriage journey been? You guys actually shared your marriage story. I think it was televised, right? There was something, I know the video went viral. The
Yes.
song performance was viral.
Yes,
But
it did.
yeah, you all also were on what network sharing
It
like
was Access Hollywood we were
yeah,
on.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's where like our story is. Honestly, so we've been together since we were 16 and we've gone through like different phases of life. And I think there was a period of time where like when we had no responsibilities, no kids, I used to love to sleep. Like before I met Desmond, I was not a sleeper at all, actually. Like never took a nap, nothing. And then I ended up getting actually really sick and I we actually think this might have been where it stemmed from, but I got pneumonia and mono at the same time. And I was very sick for a while. And from that point on, I've been like a big napper.
Mm.
And I think during the beginning, guys would be like, like you sleep a lot, you sleep a lot, you sleep a lot. And over time, like I got better at it. I found ways to like boost my energy, whatever, whatever. But in the thick of it, like after we had Caden, we're like, they talking about getting married. I was concerned, and I'm sure he was too. I think we've actually had conversations about this of like, is this what our life is going to be like? Where we're going to get married and you're going to have to take care of me like this? Like, I'm ashamed. I want to be like a helpful wife, not like the sick wife. And it's okay to be it if that's who you are. And to find the right man who loves you enough to be there for you. And although that's a lot for a man to take on, like I'm choosing you. And although a wife is supposed to be helpful, I'm possibly might not get that. That's a big choice for a man as well, because they don't have to,
Um,
truthfully, you
yeah.
know? But he's always been very helpful. I think our diet, the way, and I understand this isn't how everybody can do it. It's not sustainable for everybody, but his idea was, okay, I understand that she can't work and take care of this household, but I need her to take care of the household. So I'm going to take work off of her plate. And that was our way of figuring out like a norm or like that worked for both of us and our family. And but there were times like I remember one Halloween, my birthday was Halloween. I was so sick and just uncomfortable. This is before we got married. And he was frustrated because all of our friends were out at costume parties and things like that. And he's like, we're at home, like we're young, we need to be out. And at that time, I'm like, dang, like I just can't get it together. Only to find out a couple, like I think within the year that I had this autoimmune issue. And he felt so bad for even like saying that. But I understand if we don't know and it just seems like I'm always sick for no reason and blah, 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 like there's this hostility and like, oh, what am I dealing with? But he has always been like my rock when it comes to it. And although there are times like when you have an autoimmune issue and you're not feeling well, you need to rest. You might have to rest for a week.
Mm.
And that means laundry's not getting done. That means I barely cooked this week. That means I needed you to take over for the week. And I would feel ashamed because I knew my role as the homemaker. And I felt like he probably felt frustrated because he was pulling his end, which is working and taking care of the house, or not having a clean towel because I didn't get to laundry.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm. It's
so
all so real. It's so real.
it's so real. Marriage is so real. Like we were saying, the first year is trying to figure each other out because just dating and living together even is different than being married and living together because the expectation is higher. And especially like it's not like, oh, you have this choice in the world. No, 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 no. We're a couple. We're together. We're gonna be together forever. We're married. So we know our roles and we're supposed to play them. And that's depending on the couple, like you guys should discuss your relationship and what you expect of each other. Um, and then to have expectations and then to not meet them at first created a little hostility. Like he understood, but it's like, dang, but I still don't have a towel, like I still had to go and pay for a takeout when we just bought groceries. Now they're going bad. So, but being able to come together, and I think that's where your ego has to be checked and you have to be honest with each other. And I would go to him and be like, I feel ashamed that I can't be the wife I want to be for you right now. And I can feel that you're holding maybe a little bit of resentment because I can't be that either. And I don't know how we're going to figure this out, but I would like to. And we would just brainstorm, or like, all right, you need 2 naps a day to get you through. How about when you wake up and take the baby to school, you put on a load of laundry, or we'll do like we'll find some 5-10 minute recipes that are easy for you to throw in the crock pot. So things are still getting done, but it had to be a lot of checking our egos at the door. It wasn't, well, I do this and, oh, well, I'm feeling this way. It was what we literally do is think about the other person first. My first thought is, you work so hard and you put me in this position to take care of the household and I'm not fulfilling that right now. And I can only imagine how that must make you feel. And then for him, he's like, I know you like to be a helpful wife, but I see how sick you are right now. And so that must be frustrating for you. And you must feel some type of way that you can't be helpful. And so coming into a conversation like that versus like, this is how I feel, this is how I feel, and being able to see it from each other's point of view creates not a defense, but like, let's tackle this problem together.
I don't know if you mentioned it while we were recording or like if it was prior to the recording, but do you feel like the therapy helped with that, even like the marriage kind of?
Oh, yeah. So what I was telling you before was we went to premarital counseling and it was like a little bubble. Yeah, we're fine. We're great. Okay. Thinking marriage fixes it. Then we got married and all the expectations came in, all the other like prehistoric things came in, and we were at each other's throat. You're not listening to me. You're not listening how I feel. No, you don't understand me. So we had to go back to therapy because at first it was like, what did we do? What did we do? And going to therapy and learning the skills to communicate, being able to get to the root of our problems that have stemmed from childhood that had nothing to do with each other. But because of things we've gone through as children or just in our high school years, the bullying, things like that we go through, we have our egos, we have these things that we never dealt with. And until we're able to deal with them and come together and be like, okay, it's not me versus you. It's us against the problem. And that's what we learned in therapy. And not only that, but I feel like as Christians, we have morals, right? Like we hold ourselves to a standard because God is watching and we know the type of people we're supposed to be out in the world, but also for each other. And I feel like keeping those things in the forefront is what made us be able to use our tools. So you hear in a lot of marriages, like when there's resentment, they go outside of the marriage, or they start talking to other people, whatever. It's like, no, God wouldn't like that. That's not why people get married. We chose to make this vow. We need to figure it out here. And I think that that's where we were able to succeed is by we were also at a point where it's like, we tried everything else on our own without therapy, without praying, I would say, and I'm like, all right, none of this is working. None of this is working. We got to go get some help. But it was the best thing. We did it every week for 2 years. And then now we just do it as needed. Like if we have a big issue or like when the baby first came, we stopped for like 3 months before the baby came. And then once the baby came, we did it like we've been doing it every other week because there's so many new things that are coming up, not between us. It's just more of like how to handle things.
Sure, yeah.
But sometimes you need a third party who is not a family, definitely not a family member. Oh my gosh, not a family member, please. Because after you forgive your husband, they don't. Okay. We do not talk to our families about our issues at all. It's not that it's no, just love on my man as my husband and I will figure it out. But therapy is 100%, no, 50-50 because it's God first and then therapy, right? But
yes.
But it all goes hand in hand.
And there's no shame in it. Like and it doesn't have to be like, oh, we're on the brink of divorce. And now we have to it could just be like you said, maintaining. Like it's just relationship maintenance. Like, I mean, you're building a life with somebody, becoming one doesn't just start and end at the alter. Like this is an ongoing thing. And
Yeah.
as I was just sharing with you, like we went on a marriage retreat recently and we were like, wow, like we have tools. Like this, we needed that. And
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
we did premarital counseling too, but maybe the therapy during the marriage would be helpful even for us, or just more marriage retreats. But like you need, like you said,
Yeah.
a third party or a couple mentorship,
Yes.
somebody who can like look at you and see things that you all can't see sometimes just because you're in it.
Right. When you're in it, it's so hard. Like, and if this was the same situation and it was like my friend, I could see it clearly. But when it's you, it's harder. And having
Yeah.
those tools, like I remember one time Desmond had like a deadline. I was set on going to this baby boutique to get a crib,
Mhm.
and he did it. But on the way home, I could feel the resentment. But we have tools, right? And at that moment, though, I think like we were getting snippy. And then I was like, you know what? We have the tools. We know how to communicate and we know how to do this well, and we're not right now.
Mhm.
Let's take some time in this car. We were silent for like 30 minutes. And something big in our whoever asks for the time has to come back. I shouldn't have to come chase you,
Mhm.
right? You asked for the time. You need to give me a time limit, right? So I need 2 hours. I need an hour. I'll talk to you at 7 p.m. tonight. Okay, but then you better do it because you're the one who needed it.
Mhm.
That's something we learned in therapy. Because then if
But
I'm the one who's like coming back crawling and asking you like, oh, are you ready to talk now? Like that's not fair,
mhm.
right? Um, but I was like, let's just take 10 minutes and just get ourselves together. And then we were able to be like, okay, we have the tools, let's use them. Why are you upset? Let's talk about it. What did I do? And then he was able to tell me it's nothing to do with you. It has to do with this deadline. I feel stressed. I just feel like this took away from that. And I'm like, I totally understand that. You didn't even tell me you had a deadline today, or else I really would have moved it. I'm really sorry that you feel that way. I'm happy that you came with me and you tried to make it all work. When we get home, go ahead into the studio, do what you need to do, and I got it for the rest of the night with the kids. Don't worry about it. 4 years ago, we could not have done that. It would have been a full-out war.
yeah, see, like that is such a blessing. Thank you so much for sharing that. I hope people are gleaning from this conversation and like really heeding what we're saying, because these are the little but big things that can really change the trajectory of your marriage and
They
even
do.
of your life. Like if you're single even and like you're having a hard time just functioning, like sometimes you need help. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know?
Yeah, I've seen more and more though. I think that our generation is now being more open to therapy. We all want to grow, and even as singles, like why can't I find someone, right? Well, maybe there's some things that you just haven't tackled from your past, or just for who you are, or you think you need to have this because you were told you need to have this, but that's not what truly is important or what you need.
Exactly. So, Destinee, what can we expect from you, your family? What's in store with you guys? You all are on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram.
Okay, so from Desmond, he actually just put out a promo. He has this brand, the School Bully, and he has now put this brand into a cartoon. He's made a cartoon.
Wow.
And yes, which is so exciting. He's been working on this for so long. So he just put out the promo for that, and that'll be out soon. Caden
So,
has started his own channel. He just got to 100,000 subscribers as well, and he's putting out his own content. And for myself, I took a break from content for a while, especially during the end of pregnancy and the beginning of motherhood again. But at this point, I'm like, I just want to share what the real is. I just want to show the raw of what my day is with my family. It's not about what's perfect. It's about being able to relate as mothers, because it's not motherhood does not look perfect. It's a lot of ups and downs. There's been a lot of crying. There's been a lot of happy days. There's been a mixture of both where I'll be happy in the morning and by nighttime I'm in tears, and then we just do it all over again. But I want to just bring people in and just show like, okay, yeah, it seems beautiful and I live a very blessed life, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows all the time. It's not, and it's okay.
so we're going to be looking forward to more mom content, some real, some raw, real life,
Yes.
day in the life.
Yes, stay in the life.
Awesome. I'm going to link all of your social media accounts on this channel. But for those who may be driving, listening in, what are your handles? Instagram, YouTube, TikTok?
Everything is Destiny Dennis. Destinee Dennis.
Awesome. Okay, great.
All of them. So I'll be looking for your follows, guys.
Yeah.
Come see what our life's like.
Yeah, we're excited. I'm excited to see where you all are and how the Lord has blessed you all and just everything that you're doing. I'm just so proud and rooting for you. So, I'll be watching.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate you having me on here. It means a lot to me to even have someone who wanted to hear my story and give me a platform to be able to share that as well. So I really appreciate you. And I am so excited to see what Heal the Girl does in this next year. I know it's going to be epic. I know it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Destinee Dennis, thank you so much for your time, the raw, the real. I love it. I hope you all enjoyed the episode as much as I enjoyed the conversation. Be sure to leave a comment down below, share this video if it can be helpful to any of your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more authentic conversation like this. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you soon.